Hey guys, this is E10 Sun from SunBros. Today I'm really excited to be bringing you guys this brand new video, but before we get started with that, I want to make sure I remind you guys on how to get entered in for a chance to win our guaranteed skin giveaways that we do every Sunday night during our 1-hour question and answer live stream. All you gotta do is make sure you're subscribed to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and comment below with your in-game name and which skin you'd like to receive on either the NA or EU servers under 700 vouchers. And remember, the more videos that you do this with that are uploaded each week, the higher chance you have to win. Alright guys, it's time to get to our newest how to build video, and today we're going to be covering the Dwarf Marksman Morin. And I'm really excited about this one, guys, and as always we're going to be starting in the hero page, going over Morin's abilities and what he does well, what he doesn't do well, to figure out how to best build him to take advantage of all of his incredible toolkit abilities. So let's get started with his passive precision. Every successful attack and ability places a mark of precision on Morin. At 5 stacks, the cooldown for tactical maneuver is refreshed immediately, and that's his first ability. And then, additionally, Morin gains 12 to 26% lifesteal, which increases 1% per level. Morin's first ability is tactical maneuver. The cooldown is 9 seconds, and that does not change throughout the entire game, and it doesn't need to because of that passive, which is going to continually refresh this ability. Morin's movement speed is increased by 40% for 1.5 seconds, and that is static throughout the game, does not go up with levels. His next normal attack within 5 seconds fires 2 bullets, each dealing extra physical damage, and that does go up. As you guys can see, the damage increase, which is based on the percentage of AD, is going to go up. And Morin also gains 25 armor and magic defense for 5 seconds. Now, that is going to go all the way up to 70 at level 6, and these effects, being the armor magic defense increase, can stack up to 7 times with normal attacks. And the effects can be extended, and it can be stacked up to 7 times. So when you stack it to 70 times at level 6, at 70 times 7 is going to be 490 armor and magic defense, which is going to make Morin very tanky for a marksman. And that's something we're going to key in on, when we are building Morin, because it is one of his biggest strengths. And keeping up with Morin's 7 stacks is not easy to do, and it's a big deal, and it's a big thing about what makes good Morin players really good. They're very, very tanky. His second ability is Impact Barrage. It has a 12-second cooldown, and that is also non-changing. It doesn't decrease at all. Morin knocks back enemies and deals physical damage. Also reduces enemy movement speed by 30% for 2 seconds. And then, last but not least, is Magnetic Storm, and this starts at 35 seconds and goes down to 25 at level 3. Morin launches a magnetic grenade towards the target area. The explosion triggers a magnetic storm over 2.5 seconds. It deals damage. Looks like starts some pretty good physical damage 6 times to enemies in the area and reducing their movement speed by 50%. So 6 times over 2.5 seconds is a little bit less than every half second. Or it actually is every half second starting at 0. So boom, 1, and then every half second. And it reduces their movement speed by 50%. Enemies knocked into the storm by Impact Barrage, which is the second ability, are going to get stunned for 1.5 seconds. Now, it's a pretty impressive ability, and the combination of Magnetic Storm and knocking somebody in. A 1.5 second stun doesn't just give them you the ability to fire at them, it also makes the Magnetic Storm's damage just keep going off. So it's actually pretty impressive. Alright, so let's go ahead and go to the equipment page on Morin and talk about how to build them. We're going to be only doing a, well, we might do 2 builds. We're going to be doing one for sure, which is going to be his lane build. He's going to go down Dragon side with the support. That's the main build we're going to be discussing today, and we're going to be starting with Fafnir's Talon. And I'll tell you why. The reason why is because the attack speed is really nice on Morin, especially early game. So there's kind of a multi reasons for taking Fafnir's first, and a lot of people like to take other items first, and I'll tell you why they're wrong. 60 attack damage is going to obviously help everything. His auto attacks, his abilities, that's kind of, everyone kind of can get that one. Now, the attack speed is going to help him proc his passive more, which gives him the ability to cast tactical maneuver more often, which is going to give him these double shots. So he's going to be getting double shots way more frequently with 30% attack speed instead of building something like Clave Sanctity or something like that to start off with. Secondly, we're going to get a little bit of lifesteal, which is really nice because he has some base lifesteal. When you throw in a little bit, even just this 10% extra on top of it, it helps Morin sustain tremendously early game. But the real reason we're taking Fafnir's Talon at number 1 is because one of the things that Morin struggles with a lot is his early game damage is not great, especially pre-level 4. What Fafnir's talent is going to do is and you won't have Fafnir's talent by level 4 obviously, so I'm not really trying to say this is going to help with pre-level 4 stuff. You want to play really carefully with him pre-level 4, but once you get Fafnir's talent, what it's going to do early game for Morin's damage is it's going to give him some freebie damage with that passive Dragon's Breath. Normal attacks deal an additional damage equal to 8% of the current HP of the target. So Morin is going to be able to do way more damage early game by hitting shots more rapidly with that attack speed, which causes the tactical maneuver to go off twice, and then you're going to get the 8% of the current HP that's going to keep going off also. So it's just going to give Morin some nice chippy damage early before he starts getting into Morin's insane damage a little bit later in the game. Then we're going to be moving on to the boots, and we're going to be at Gilded Greaves, of course. Even though Morin is a tanky marksman, and he has tanky qualities, and you know, with his first ability tactical maneuver, which is going to give him up to 490 armor and magic resist. You know, and even though he has natural life steal and all that stuff, we're still going to get Gilded Greaves. You know, he's got good crowd control. He can knock back, he can do a stun, but Gilded Greaves is still the way to go. It gives him a little bit of magic defense, and it gives him, of course, the unique passive resistance, which is going to reduce the amount, the duration of any kind of crowd control effect, whether it's a slow stun, knock up, knock back, anything like that, by 35%. So if it's a 1 second stun, it'll end up lasting 0.65 seconds instead of 1 second. So it's always good to have on anyone you don't want getting crowd controlled, and I don't want Morin getting crowd controlled, no matter how tanky he can get for a marksman. The next item we're going to be getting is going back to the attack section, and we are going to be getting Clave Sanctity at this point in the game. And the reason we're going Clave Sanctity is because it's awesome. It's an awesome item. We're going to be getting 100 attack damage. The first passive is actually pretty good and a little bit underrated on Morin. After dealing a critical hit, movement speed increases by 3 per hero's level, lasts for 1.5 seconds. The reason why that works so well is because it synergizes really well with Morin's first ability, Tactical Maneuver, which also gives him a movement speed boost. So he's going to get kind of a double movement speed boost from the passive of Clave Sanctity, as well as the movement speed boost from his first ability, Tactical Maneuver. That's the one that you're going to be able to spam all game long because the passive continually refreshes it. The real reason we're getting this item, though, is of course the unique passive Critical Chance, which gives you, or the unique passive, which is going to give you 30% extra critical chance, which is just disgusting. Morin is going to have more auto attacks to have the chance to crit than your average hero because he's going to be shooting those double shots so frequently. And that's one of the reasons why we're going Clave Sanctity. And if you're going Clave Sanctity, you can only do one intelligent thing, and that's to follow it up with its buddy item, and that is Slick Sting. Clave Sanctity without Slick Sting 99% of the time is a bad idea. So we're going to actually do the smart thing and take Slick Sting in this occasion. This is going to give us 30% more attack speed, which again is going to help Morin proc his passive more often, which is going to give him more frequent freebie lifesteal. It's going to give him more frequent double shots, and it's going to make him, it's going to give him a lot more damage. Attack speed is worth a lot on Morin. Also, we're going to get 20% critical chance, which is going to help out with the overall big shot damage that Morin is capable of doing, and that gives him 50% based on his items crit chance so far, 60% attack speed. Is that correct? If Fafnir has 30, so that's 60% attack speed, 50% crit. You should have some crit with your items if you have the right Arcana on him, and we'll go over that in a second. And then we have 5% movement speed, which isn't necessary, but it's nice. It's going to help again with all the movement speed he has after casting Tactical Maneuver, and with the passive on Clave Sanctity when he crits. But it's that passive that makes it such a beautiful item paired up with Clave Sanctity. Increases critical damage by 50%, and if you're building the correct Arcana, it's going to be even higher, and we'll go over that in a little bit. Next, we are going to be going with an item that I think is a little bit underrated, and you can go one of two ways, and it's based on who you got on the other team and how they're building. You're either going to go Rank Breaker, which is going to give you 10% attack speed, or cooldown reduction, sorry. And you're going to have, that's your first 10% cooldown reduction you're going to get in the game. He doesn't really need it because his main ability is Tactical Maneuver, and that will refresh based on his attack speed. But you're going to get 100 attack damage, which makes everything he does more powerful. You're going to get increased movement speed while exiting battle, which is he just has all these little movement speed buffing things that happen to him, which makes him a pretty mobile marksman. And then the unique passive Break, increasing armor pierce by 100 plus 10 per level, so at level 15 it's going to be 250. Now the other option at this point in the game, and you could really go, let's say you could go a couple different ways, and I don't think that either is more right than the other. My preference is Rank Breaker. Now if your team is getting really locked down by a solid tank who's building a lot of armor, like a really beefy Thane or a really beefy Kresh who's building a lot of armor, or Minna, you're going to want to switch Rank Breaker out. Or if you're dealing with multiple high armor heroes, like maybe you have the Zephyrus in the jungle, you have an Arthur top lane and like a Thane support, and you got just a bunch of guys building armor, you're going to want to obviously switch that out for Muramasa, which is going to give you the 40% armor pierce. It'll definitely be worth 40% armor pierce is definitely worth high tank teams a lot more than Rank Breaker is, which is really more to help you burst down squishies. You know, assassins, mages, marksmen, all that kind of stuff. So Muramasa is your alternative item. If you really wanted to go a little bit more tanky, go Spirit Longinus, you can, but that I don't recommend that at all. I think that he doesn't need to be more tanky, and he gets more damage done from his other items that he has here. So I say probably 50% of the time Rank Breaker is the right item, and 50% of the time Muramasa is the right item. Now, if maybe you're not having issues with, you know, somebody on the other team who's really tanky right now, you can take Rank Breaker and you can always sell boots and get Muramasa and just get even more armor pierce later on, which is going to make him super strong against everyone. I mean, it's going to help a lot. Then we're going to be going with our 6th item, and this is kind of another optional item I'm going to give you guys. It really depends on what's going on in the game with me, but I go one of 2 items. Most of the time I'm going to be going Omni Arms, and the reason why is because you get attack damage, nice, attack speed, nice, we already talked about how that benefits him. Lifesteal, we talked about how that benefits him. Cooldown reduction is not really necessary, but we'll take it. Get a little more HP, going to make us a little bit more tanky. And then the passive, Pentapower. After using an ability, the next normal attack within 5 seconds deals 100% more physical damage with a 2-second cooldown. I can confirm, after doing some testing, that this does... It's insane. It's just insane to be stacked with his first ability. So essentially what happens is when you do his first ability, Tactical Maneuver, and he fires his double shot, Omni Arms essentially gives it a 3rd shot. Now Omni Arms is passive, can't crit, but it's going to give him a third. It's going to be like 3 auto attacks going out. Boom, all 3 hitting at one individual time. So that opening sequence with Tactical Maneuver is going to be massive, and it's going to go off all the time. Now, the other item you could get, and this is really dependent on, I think, how fed you are. If you are super fed, if you're really doing well in gold, you're going to want to actually go Fenrir's Tooth. 200 attack damage, increases all damage dealt by 30% when target is below 50%. So if you are getting people below 50% with a shot or 2, the increased damage is just going to melt people. I do Fenrir's Tooth a lot because I'm frequently fed with Morin. I know how to keep his stacks up. I know how to keep him sustained so he doesn't have to back. That lifesteal continues to proc with his passive, especially because this build has such great attack speed. And so Fenrir's Tooth is a good option. Now, if you really just want to be, I don't say conservative, but really maybe overly intelligent about it, a good option is to actually go ahead and just build the right item, which is Omni Arms. That is probably the best item here at the spot for him, and then sell boots and get Fenrir's if the game goes on that long. But yeah, those are 2 really optional items. I mean, if you ended up having a game where you went Muramasa and Fenrir's Tooth, that's not a bad thing. That's still a good build. It's still going to be useful, but it's dependent on the situation you're in that game. The most common, if I were to give you one build, the most commonly used build that I would say I use that gets me to where I need to go, is going to be this build right here. This is going to be the build that I think is going to be the most helpful for you guys, and this is what I'm going to go with. Now, if you guys want another build, it's going to be the jungle build is going to be identical to the other build. You're just going to swap the first items out. Now, you do miss out on that 8% extra damage to people from the current health that you get with Fafnir's, but Morin has a pretty decent jungle clear, and his ganks starting at level 4 are ridiculous as long as you get good with the magnetic field knockback. The combo on Morin to be able to throw the magnetic field and then knock somebody back into it for an incredible 1.5 second stun is absolutely phenomenal. When you learn later on in your Morin career to get good at it and start doing 3, 4, 5 people, it gets stupid. Obviously, if you do it to 5 people, they're bunching up and they're making a mistake, but I've done it before. So this is our Morin build, and we're going to be moving on next to Arcana. And the Arcana for Morin is the same Arcana that I use on Wukong. You're going to get Rampage for the 3.6% crit damage. So when we're done with Slick Sting, which gives us 50% crit damage, we're going to be doing 86% more crit damage when we crit, giving Morin some disgustingly huge fat crits. We're also going to get 7% crit chance. We already have 50% crit chance on our build, giving us a total of 57% crit chance. Pretty solid all around. And then we're going to be going on to the purple, which is going to be Assassinate, giving us 1.6 attack damage, 1% movement speed. That's 16 extra attack damage, 10% more movement speed. And again, Morin just keeps getting faster and faster. That little dude with his tiny little dwarf legs just keep going faster and faster. Then we have Skewer. Certainly last but not least, 9 more attack damage, giving him 25 attack damage from his Arcana and giving him 64 armor pierce, completing the ridiculous Morin build, which is going to be super powerful. And if we're going to be building, if we're going to be going into, and I'm going to show you guys a talent on Morin to pick, I'll give you guys a couple of options. My number one option with Morin is going to be Heal, because what I am generally running into with Morin is that I'm getting into a fight and Morin has good armor and good magic resist, so it's hard to do as much damage to Morin as you would against other marksmen, especially if you're good at keeping the stacks up. So a well-timed heal when I get to about 50% health or a little bit lower gets him his health back up, and then then you just happen to proc your passive, which gives you free lifesteal, and then all of a sudden you're just raking in more health. And Morin can literally just flip a switch. He's starting to kind of get a little bit below half health. Heal, you get some life stuff going off, all kind of the life stuff going off simultaneously, and all of a sudden, boom, your health's back up and you're doing well again. That's my favorite thing to take on him. Obviously, you're going to take Punish if you're going to the jungle. Alternative options that I would give you guys is Roar. And I'm not a big fan of Roar at all, but it actually does make a little sense. At 60% attack speed, it's quite a bit. If you wanted to take Roar to just go crazy in a team fight late in the game, or even when you're in lane, if 1v2 or 2v2 and you guys just, maybe you get off a magnetic storm and you want to ensure you get both kills, Roar's not a bad option. Again, it's not ideal for I think what Morin needs, but 60% attack speed and 10% attack damage for 5 seconds on Morin is definitely not something to say is not good. And then the only other thing I would really consider taking on Morin is maybe Flicker, or probably Flicker. I mean, I don't see that being, I much prefer Heal. I see an occasional need where maybe you could hit your tactical maneuver, Flicker, and get a nice double shot off on somebody who's trying to get away. Maybe you can finish them off. But for the most part, Heal will come in handy much more frequently. Help with that overall sustain so that Morin can stay. And I've had games with Morin where I've never backed. And that is going to make you a rich guy in Arena of Valor. So, alright guys, that is the end of this one. I hope you guys liked it. I'm going to be giving you guys one more look at the build. This is the regular build, the jungle build, and back to the regular build again, guys. Alright, that is how to build Morin. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Check out other how to build videos. But guys, thanks for coming on this journey with me on building Morin. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, until next time.